Even while the littles at these playgroup parties were much friendlier than when Lionel held them, the littles in this group were still just as poisonous as ever. Nobody thought it was a huge concern until they realized how much bullying took place when littles got together. By that time, too many of them had become skilled at what they did and how to conceal it effectively. Before long, I was seated at one of the table's chairs, as Daddies hurried back and forth, attempting to work together to stop my nose from bleeding. As they passed, I overheard a few of them discussing how snowball fights may be dangerous to littles, and how we shouldn't be playing in the snow like this, but they didn't seem too concerned about the other littles outside, instead focusing on getting my nose to stop bleeding. "Here you go, little one daddy remarked as he handed me a cold, wet washcloth. "This should bring the bleeding to a halt. Simply hold it to your nose to capture the blood and pinch the bridge of your nose as instructed." Despite my emotions, I responded by nodding my head and doing precisely what he said. The cold water on the washcloth made the cloth a little uncomfortable on my nose, but I didn't care because my nose was still gushing blood, and I was already feeling queasy from the amount of blood I had lost, considering the fact that I was a bit squeamish, regardless of who was bleeding or what caused the body fluid to leave my body. The fact that I had been bleeding so heavily all over my coat as well as the washcloth had me nauseous as well. After a while, I chose to distract myself by focusing on the various daddies surrounding me. Almost every daddy in the room was crowded around each other, and with a worried expression on their face as they observed me. As far as I know, none of them had any littles, and if I really wanted to, I could probably convince one of them to be my daddy. It was only a matter of deciding which one I preferred. Despite the fact that they were all about the same age and worked as doctors in town, no two daddies looked alike. Some had darker hair with hints of gray and white, almost as if salt and pepper had been sprinkled into their hair, while others were clean-shaven or fully bald. They were all around the same height, but their eyes were all various colors. It felt like I'd gone to a daddy buffet and could pick whichever daddy I wanted. If I were the type of little who would take advantage of a situation like this, now would be a great time to pick a daddy for myself. However, I was not the type of little who would take advantage of a situation like this. I was only here because a snowball thrown by one of the other littles had hit me in the face and caused my nose to bleed. I didn't care for the attention that I was receiving, and the fact that everyone in the room was staring at me made me feel uneasy. Normally, I would prefer to stay alone at home and read a book without anyone telling me what to do or where to go, let alone judging me for what I was doing. But here at the playgroup party, as I was attempting to stop my nose from bleeding, I was clearly the center of attention. "Please, let me see," one daddy begged as he reached for the washcloth at my nose. "All I want to know is if the bleeding stopped." Even though I was scared that once the washcloth was removed, my nose might start flowing again, the way the daddy spoke to me brought back a nostalgic sensation of peace and comfort, prompting me to do what he said. When I pulled the washcloth from my face, I could see Daddy's face even better than before. Much to my astonishment, it was my ex-boyfriend, Dr. Tyler Graves.